Another kinds of prophet you need to be careful of is the greedy prophets. Like Gehazi, they have a heart for worldly rewards, money, status, clothes, rather than heavenly rewards. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 20 to 27 tells us the full story about Gehazi and Elisha. Gehazi was a servant of Elisha. He had a front row seat to the greatest miracle of his time. It was a line for a triple portion of anointing, but he traded his future for wardrobe. Naaman was healed of leprosy and offered Elijah gifts. Elijah, a matured prophet, refused them, but Gehazi thought, my master has left this Aram mine off too slightly. Gehazi ran after Naaman and lied, claiming Elisha needed silver and clothes for young prophets. Elisha saw him in the spirit. He said, is this the time to take money or accept clothes? The leprosy of Naaman didn't just touch Gehazi, it cleaves to his descendants. The lesson, a greedy prophet trades his legacy, what outlives him, for luxury that rots. The greedy prophet is a tragic figure, like the mercenary prophet who starts with a piece of tag. The greedy prophet often starts well, but is eventually consumed by slight luxury. They suffer from spiritual leprosy because they value the gift of the man more than the God of the gift. This was what Elijah saw that made him to terminate the office of Gehazi before he arrived in future prophets and make God a mockery. Elisha terminated the office of Gehazi so that he doesn't mess things up if he happens to be a future prophet. Hear this: if you are a prophet and you have a young prophet under you, whenever they mess up, please make them to step down from the office. If you keep pampering them, they will cause a big mistake future that cannot be repaired. If you are a prophet or a mentor, please take note of this. Immediately they mess up, just like Elisha, discipline them. Don't curse them, but make them to step down so that they can realize their mistake. By so doing, you'll be able to mold them into matured beings. But if you pamper them and leave them in their mistake, they will make bigger mistakes that can never be corrected in the future. This is why the prophetic office is so messed up in this modern generation. The trade for legacy, for luxury. A greedy prophet is identified by impatience. They cannot wait for God's timing to bless them. So they force a harvest. They identify themselves with worldly pleasures, expensive cars, designer clothes, and elites, social cycles, not as tool for the gospel, but as the goal of the gospel. They don't see a miracle as an opportunity to glorify God. They see it as an opportunity to ask for a significant gift. They believe that the bigger the gift, the bigger the prophecy. These kinds of prophets prophesy to you according to your gifts given to them. They prophesy to people based on their status. Everyone is equal before God. As a prophet, speak to everyone as God leads you. In modern ministry, this is the prophet will spend 10 minutes prophesying and 40 minutes raising a seed based on that prophecy. They tell the person, I see a breakthrough, but you must trigger it with a $1,000 seed. The reality, they are using God's word as a leverage to pay their own bills. Like Gehazi, they are running after Naaman instead of serving the altar. The third types of prophet you need to avoid are the newscaster prophets. They turn trending social media topics into prophecies. They post multiple versions of a prediction and delete the ones that failed. The newscaster prophet is a modern spiritual deception that strives on the speed of the internet. These are individuals who do not wait on the Lord in the secret place. Instead, they wait on their social media feeds and breaking news alerts. They take what is already happening and repackaged it as it talks said the Lord. The anatomy of the newscaster prophet. A newscaster prophet is essentially a spiritual commentator, posting a divine messenger. They use sensationalism and exaggeration to increase their views and followers. These prophets wait for a major event to happen, a plane crash, or an election result, or a natural disaster. Once it hits the news, they quickly upload a video saying, I saw this coming last month. Or they edit old Virgo's posts to make it look like they were specific. Here is their status. They often record multiple prophecies in private. If A happens, they release video A and delete video B. If B happens, they do the reverse. They follow the news closely. If the media says tension is rising in the Middle East, the newscaster prophet comes out the next day and say, I see a shaking in the Middle East. The reality, they aren't hearing from the spirit. They are simply summarizing the news and adding the spiritual verb to it. Let me give you a biblical example of such prophets. Ananias, the popular newscaster. In Jeremiah chapter 28, in the days of Jeremiah, the news was that Babylon was the superpower taking over. The people were scared and wanted good news, just like what is happening today in the United States. Ananias came into the temple and gave a sensational breaking news prophecy. He said, within 2 full years, I will bring back to this place all the vessels of the Lord's house. And Jeconiah, king of Judea. This is why he was a newscaster. He spoke based on his social demands. He saw the political tension and the people's desire for the war to end quickly. He gathered the public verb and turned it into a fake word. Here is the result of what happened. Jeremiah told him, the Lord has not sent you, but you have made these people trust in a lie. Because Ananias tried to broadcast a lie as God's news. He died that same year. My fellow prophets, be very careful. The supreme eyes is watching. Let me give you another instance. During the COVID-19, we saw a massive surge of newscaster prophets during the 2020-2021 global crisis. Many popular prophets on YouTube and Facebook saw the news of the pandemic and began predicting its end. It was only Prophet T.B. Joshua that said it will undergo 3 phases. The World Health Organization doubted him, but it all happened just as he spoke. This newscaster prophet simply stopped talking about it or deleted the videos and moved on to the next trending topic. The same thing happens during the Nigeria election. Many prophets prophesied that Peter Obi is going to win the election simply because they saw the crowd that Peter Obi was attracted to. And they physically used that to prophesy his win. But it happened the other way around. If you are a newscaster prophet who read the opponents or the physical to prophesy, you get it wrong. In many nations, prophets watch the polls. If a candidate is leading by 10%, they prophesy, I see this man on the throne. They are not looking into the spirit. They are looking at the option polls. They gamble on the outcome to look accurate and gain followers. Here is how to design a newscaster prophet. Check the timeline. Does the prophecy only come out after the news has already eaten at it? Check the edit history. On platforms like Facebook, you can see if a post was edited. Newscasters often edit their prophecies after the event occurs to make themselves look 100% accurate. A true prophet like Elijah announced that the drought will be over and that it is about to rain when there wasn't a cloud in the sky. He didn't wait for the weather's reports. He commanded the weather. A newscaster prophet wait for the rain to start falling before they prophesy a storm. You remember the prophecies I gave about climatic change.
So let's hear the mind of God as to what God is saying about the year 2022. Now, what the future holds for 2022? Climatic change continue, but in a different direction.
I spoke about droughts.
But this year, I've seen a strong drought. A strong drought.
So-called mega drought that is afflicting the American West is the worst in 1,200 years. That's according to a study published yesterday. It has dried up water supplies, threatened ranchers, and fueled wildfires. William Brangham explains more.
That's right, Judy. Last summer, 2 of the largest reservoirs in North America, Lake Mead and Lake Powell, reached their lowest ever recorded levels. Mega droughts have come and gone in the past, but this current one, now 22 years long, is being driven largely.
Mega heat wave that will make everyone to cry out for heat.
I'm seeing a strong heat wave. This year there's going to be a strong heat wave, which will make everyone to cry out for it because of the coming weather situation. The weather will be so hot. So there's a strong wave of heat that is going to hit the world this 2022. That everyone is going to cry out for heat. The heat will be too much to bear. Even in region where their weather is a bit cold, they will experience this heat that everyone will complain about the weather being hot in this year 2022 because of the drought situation that I'm seeing.
Of devastating floods, but the mother city is experiencing the opposite amid a heat wave. Temperatures are set to soar this weekend. Another factor the city is contending with is the dry season and the fires it can bring. Tanya Neft reports. Temperatures are rising fast.
I spoke then about a wildfire and want fire services to be alert to guide against wildfire that will bring massive destruction.
For this little thing can kindle a great fire. Fire service should be alert to guide against massive destruction from wildfire.
The briar fires which are not allowed except in very specifically designated places. So all of those, please be extremely careful today so that we can avoid accidents.
And I told Nigeria that I saw a situation where the voices of the masses will not be the choice of God. And I told Nigerians to submit to the divine will of God.
This message was given to me 4 months ago on the 21st of August 2021. Since then, I have given series of messages to prepare the hearts of all Nigerians that God wants to do a cleansing before the new Nigeria can fully be established. In a live video footage, I told you my vision about the new Nigeria, that I saw everything change. You can listen to it under this page. It is titled, What the Angel of God Showed Me About the New Nigeria. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verses 27, the Bible stated, but God uses the foolish things of the world to confirm the wise. God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things that are mighty. God's choice is different from man's choice. Nigeria, I saw a situation. This is the mind of God for Nigeria as pertaining the coming forth election. Nigeria, I saw a situation where the voices of the masses was not the choice of God. Who you love may not be the choice of God. Nigeria as a nation should submit to the divine will of God. Even if all the people of the nation would die for him who had the voice, nothing can be done. Revolution is coming to Nigeria, but not now. This regime will skate through one more time.
When the masses chose a man, God decreed a purpose. During the Nigerian elections, Prophet Wisdom Ogbe released a staggering revelation that challenged the atmosphere of the nation. Despite the unprecedented wave of support for Peter Obi, who was undeniably the beloved choice of the masses, Prophet Wisdom stood resolute in the council of heaven. He declared that the heartbeat of the people did not align with the decree of God for that season. He warned that no amount of human effort, national outcry, or sacrifice could alter the divine will. Just as he prophesied, Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged as the victor, confirming that the prophetic word stands independent of public sentiment or human affection. This teaching on the office of the prophet breaks down why a true messenger must stand alone, even when their word contradicts the popular vote. True prophecy is not an echo of the people, it is a report from the throne room. Submit to the divine will.
I gave those prophecies when there was no sign of such happening. But we saw it all happening. Another type of prophet you need to be careful of is the psychological prophets. They read minds and gather social intelligence to win hearts through manipulation rather than revelation. The psychological prophet is perhaps the most dangerous of false dimension because they deal in the realm of soul manipulation. They don't need a lying spirit or a vision. They use the natural human mind to mimic the supernatural. A psychological prophet can play on you and use the things around you to prophesy to you. And you will think they are speaking the mind of God because some of the things that they will be telling you will be the things that are actually happening in reality. These prophets are socially in demand because they tell people exactly what their soul are giving to you, such as those who predict soccer and football, because they know that is the topic on ground and that is what you want to hear. They turn that sin into prophecy in order to gain more followers.
The revelation does not end here. The prophetic realm is vast, but it is also a terrain where many are misled. To be continued, join Prophet Wisdom Ogbe in his next teaching as he pulls back the veil on the types of prophets you must beware of. In an age of spiritual mixture, learn how to identify the strange fire and protect your soul from the counterfeit. The office is sacred, the discernment must be sharp. Subscribe and turn on notifications. You cannot afford to miss the next dimension.